Once a knowledge economy role model of other developing nations, India lost its leading position due to flight of homegrown talent and stiff competition from China. The launch of Brazil's Amazonia 1 satellite by the Indian Space Research Organization comes week after India allowed to export of COVID-19 vaccine to Brazil as part of its vaccine mastery diplomacy. Taken together, these two examples of technological and scientific cooperation draw attention to the diplomatic potential of India's knowledge economy. India's current global diplomacy in the fields of space and pharmaceuticals, engaging several countries around the world. It is the fruit of 50 years of sustained state supports of Atmanirbharta in both fields. Even though one of the satellites put into space and embossed with the name of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the credit of India's space program should in fact go to Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. It was Prime Minister Gandhi was authorized the creation of ISRO in 1972, and it was again her decision to enact the Indian Patents Act 1970 that triggered the growth of the domestic pharmaceutical sectors. Subsequent governments have all contributed to the development of both industries. Thanks to this initiative, India is today able to place satellite of several countries into space at globally competitive rates, and it's able to supply drugs and vaccines at affordable prices to developing countries. The credit of India's competitive pricing of satellite launches and pharmaceutical export goes entirety to Indian engineering, scientific and technological talent that they produced world class standard at a fraction of the cost incurred the, in developed economies. The willingness of high quality Indian scientists, engineering, biotechnologists, pharmacologists, and such like to work in India at Indian rates of competitions, not tempted by better paying jobs absorbed, has allowed organizations like ISRO and Serum Institute of India to do the work they now do. India's demonstrated potential to be a low-cost global provider of knowledge-based product had promoted the developed West, especially the US, the to deploy policies aimed to curbing the development of Indian capabilities. Unilateral sanctions were imposed to denying Indian industries access to technology and markets and a multilateralism for intellectual property rights. Protection was created under the auspices of the World Trade Organization to thwart indigenous technology development. India's capabilities in space and pharma grow in the face of such constraints. India's more based capability for knowledge based diplomacy has, however, significantly decreased over the past quarter century rather than increased. Consider the facts that as early as in the 1950s, many developing countries looked to India to access development oriented knowledge. Students from across Asia and Africa sought admission to Indian universities of postgraduate courses. Indian experts was sought by global organizations such as the Food and Agriculture Organization, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and International Rice Research Institute. The government of South Korea even sent in economists to the Indian Planning Commissions till the early of 1960s to be trained in long-term planning. By the 1970s, Korea was beginning to overtake India as a modern industrial economy. There were many other fields in which Indian experts was sought in the past and where India lags behind today. Railway is one. Rail India Technical and Economic Service, which incidentally was also established by Indira Gandhi in 1974, had acquired to global profile with business and Africa and Asia. The development of India's dairy and livestock economy also attracted global interest. Indian scientists and technologists something to offer. The developing world that the developed economies of the West were either unwilling to provide or did so at much higher cost. India lost this leadership in this knowledge economy, bearing sectors like space, pharma, and information technology. for two reasons. First, a flight of Indian talent to begin in the 1970s and has since accelerated. This has sharply increased in recent years. I have written about the before of these columns. Second, China has emerged as a major competitor offering equally good, if not better, qualities S&T products and service and lower cost. While India has maintained its lead in IT software, China has developed competitive capabilities in space, pharma, railway, and several other knowledge-based industries. Indeed, given the competition from China, the ability of Indian space and pharma to offer much needed products to the other developing countries goes to the credit of the people who serve in these industries. The Indian formalities with the English language and the still good quality of in mathematics and scientists has enabled Indian firm to remain competitive in data processing, business process outsourcing, and software service. Here too, the competitive edge is beginning to blunt. The biggest setback in the global apparel of India's knowledge economy has been in higher education. Overseas students were drawn to Indian universities and institutions because they offered good quality educations at a fraction of the cost of developed countries' institutions. The able to the apple of educations in India of overseas student has warned even South Asian students from countries like Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka, who preferred to come to India in 1960s and 1970s no longer do so. Indian institutions attract foreign students not just because the quality of education offered in most institutions is below par, but that the creature comforts provided and the social environment offered here is no longer as cosmopolitan cosmopolitan as it used to be. The growing of assertion of narrow-minded ideologies only makes Indian campus even less attractive to overseas students and scholars. Space and pharma are at the apex of a narrow pyramid of the knowledge economy. If ISRO's global competitiveness is a tribute to public policy and government supports, the global success of the pharma sector is a tribute to private enterprises and middle class talent in pharmacology, and biotechnology. Their global success points to the diplomatic potential of the knowledge industry and India's soft power. However, the fact that they are the exception rather than the rule point to the lack of political and intellectual support to be development of India's knowledge base and an inadequate commitment to excellence.